almost a month ago, on the 25th of September to be in fact, two people were stabbed near the former offices of Charlie Hebdo. Then nearly 2 weeks ago, we had Samuel Paty, a 47-year-old history teacher who was beheaded on his way home. And today we have this attack in Nice. The common thread seems to be Charlie Hebdo and the depictions of the Prophet Muhammad. The past two attacks here in France, there has been no claim of responsibility. We have no claim of responsibility for today's attack either. Is this a new trend?
No, I don't think it is. I disagree with the previous speaker you had on before me. This is something we've been seeing in France and in the rest of Europe, of course, linked to Islamic State, but we've been seeing it since 2014 in this way, and that is using violence to stop freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a fundamental Western value, and we cannot have violence used in this way, and we cannot have people scared of saying what they want to say and, basically censoring themselves. Now, in the past, yes, attacks have been directed by Islamic State, but Islamic State no longer exists as it used to. Yet we have many terrorist organizations celebrating this attack online and talking about attacking France. Doing these kind of attacks are also very hard during coronavirus, but yet there are places like Christmas markets and churches that have been targeted, specifically so people with a fanatical political ideology, which is precisely what Islamism is. Islamism has always been a fanatical political ideology. It doesn't have to necessarily have to be related to a terrorist group. It's much larger than that. They can target fundamental institutions in France and try to shut down freedom of speech, which is completely unacceptable and has to be rooted out of French society. Teachers should be free to teach what they want to in schools, within reason, of course, and being scared for their lives is completely unacceptable. And it's a tragic thing that's happened in France, and it's tragic that certain countries are supporting it. Both state actors and non-state actors are in some way supporting and bolstering the argument that censorship should somehow happen.
But Nikita, the depictions of the Prophet Muhammad don't just offend the radicals, they offend regular Muslims as well.
Yes, but the key difference here is most Muslims would be appalled that a beheading is taking place because of offense. We have the right to be offended. There are ways to express this offense that doesn't involve taking a knife from a kitchen and stabbing a woman or beheading a person. And to expand from what a number of fanatical people with mental health issues probably have done and completely expand it to the Muslim community and their offense, it isn't correct. And similarly, when Muslims are expected to apologize for acts like this, it's the same question. It's, there's a tiny subset of society, of the Muslim society, that feels that it is acceptable to use violence to shut down and censor people. And the majority of Muslims don't. I'm sure the majority of Muslims in France are completely shocked and disgusted by what has happened. And wouldn't take to doing that. So that is, that should be the normal, not what happened in Nice and what continues to happen in France with a number of fanatics who deserve to be in jail.
Well, if for argument's sake, France decides to stop publishing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, will the attack stop?
That question, probably the attacks would stop, but that's a very, that's a question that dives deep into the heart of what a liberal society is. There are many countries in the world where publishing cartoons of Prophet Muhammad are illegal, and you would probably get a death sentence for doing that, Saudi Arabia being one of them. Yet individuals are choosing to come and live in France because France represents a liberal society. They're choosing to take the privileges of a liberal society that France gives them. And yet they want France to behave like Saudi Arabia does. If you're uncomfortable with the cartoons of Prophet Muhammad, there are many countries in the world where publishing such cartoons would be completely unacceptable. And the liberal society and the freedom of speech does not apply there. So why would you want to live in France and stop these cartoons from happening is beyond me.
Just very quickly, Nikita, we do have the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, who's accused the French president of encouraging Islamophobia. And we also do have similar statements coming out from Turkey's president. Are they egging on these sorts of attacks?
I wouldn't say that they're directly inciting violence. I think there is offense here. I mean, I would go back to the point that it is offensive that a cartoon like this is published, but should it be illegal? And should people be scared of their lives for publishing it? Again, there are many countries, including Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, many countries in the Middle East that are Muslim majority countries where publishing such a cartoon would be completely unacceptable, and we would not be allowed to do it. France and many other Western countries, we do have freedom of speech, we have freedom of press, and I don't think that they're egging people on. But France has to be very careful about its own security systems and who it allows into its country, because these attacks aren't new and they've been happening for quite a long time. And so they need to seriously assess why they continue to happen and completely take out this radicalism from their country.
Nikita, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Nikita Malik there.